This is Chapter 11, Health Promotion of the Toddler and Family, Part 2. So, development of body image. As the child cognitively is starting to develop that self-awareness, that they're a unique person, they also are starting to understand and have a self-image of their own body. They understand body parts and are learning all the names of the different body parts. And it's really important at this age for parents to avoid negative labels about a child's physical appearance because they are developing this self-awareness and this image of their own bodies. And kids this age are very fearful of intrusive procedures. It doesn't have to be a painful procedure. I mean, they're certainly afraid of shots, but they're also afraid of the thermometer or the blood pressure cuff, anything that feels like it's intrusive into their personal space, into their body. Development of sexuality. Kids this age, it's very common for them to explore their genitalia, and they find out that touching certain places feels good. They're also starting to understand gender roles. They're learning vocabulary for their different anatomy as they're learning to be potty trained. They're developing names, vocabulary for that. Reproduction, because often siblings come during this time. So a parent's attitude, especially that child who's, putting their hands down their pants or things like that, the parent's attitude and how they refer to that or how they talk about body parts as a child's developing potty training, all of that can really have a lifelong effect on the child if the parent has very negative attitudes and uses negative words. That can have an effect that the child will struggle to get over. So, social development. The big tasks, the child needs to separate themselves from their mother. They start learning that much earlier, but they're taking it just to another degree, another step now. That, when they're an infant and they're hungry, the mother feeds them, and it takes them some time to figure out that they don't have total control over the mother. The mother can make them wait sometimes. So they're separating, understanding that they're separate from other people, that they don't have control of other people and other people don't have control of them. They're also learning individuation, that they're not only separate, but they have their own feelings, that they like certain foods that other people don't like, or they like doing, playing certain games, playing with certain toys that maybe others don't like. So they're learning that they're an individual, that they're separate, and they're also unique individuals. And this whole idea of the increasing awareness of object permanence allows them to what the heck does that mean? This is Chapter 11, Health Promotion of the Toddler and Family, Part 2. So, children are also developing a body awareness as they start to understand their own abilities. They're starting to develop a self-concept, and they're learning body parts by name. And so if a parent uses negative labels, that can really, they can incorporate that into their self-image. Kids this age are very fearful of intrusive procedures. It doesn't have to be a painful procedure, but they're aware of their body and they're very frightened that things might be painful or damage their body. Development of sexuality. This is an age where a lot of kids start to touch their genitalia and realize that it feels good. So that's a very common thing. They're understanding gender roles at this age, or figuring that out. As their vocabulary is increasing, they're learning vocabulary for anatomy. As they're becoming potty trained, they're learning vocabulary to do with elimination and reproduction if there's a sibling coming. So how a parent describes things and the way the terms they use in explaining them can have a lasting effect on a child if they're explained very negatively. Social development. The child had to learn that they were separate from the mother, that just because they were hungry and wanted to eat, the mother actually could make them wait. They're now also learning that they're an individual, unique person. So they're kind of continuing that. Their understanding of object permanence and that things exist and all of that makes them less afraid of strangers. So this is an important age to really talk to kids about strangers and not going with strangers. And this is an age where transitional objects are really important. So if they're at the hospital, let them have their favorite toy, their favorite blanket, their favorite pillow, whatever it is, those transitional objects, objects from home that can make them more comfortable in the hospital. Language, their comprehension is usually ahead of their ability to speak, but they're really developing language during this age. They comprehend 300 words by age 2. They can say 2 and 3 word phrases by age 2. Wanna go, like apple. You know, they're not talking just single words, but putting it together. By age 3, they're using simple sentences now. And by 3, they're using, getting 5 or 6 new words a day. But by 3, they're going to say, I want to go to the park. You know, it's a sentence. So gestures usually precede language up to about 30 months. Personal and social behavior. Toddlers are learning to be independent, do things for themselves, and we said they have these wild mood swings, that is common. And I just love the wording here, that as they're developing these skills of independence, they may become tyrannical, strong-willed, and have volatile behaviors. I think that's a great picture of a toddler. So some of the skills they're learning are feeding themselves, dressing themselves, playing, and undressing themselves. Play at this age is parallel play, so they want to go and play where the other kids are, but they don't play with the other kids. They'll sit down next to them and do the same thing they're doing. So they're parallel, but it's not interactive. Lots of imitative play at this age, especially imitating the parents. They aren't too concerned about gender stereotyped toys, although they do have a understanding of boys and girls, and you're a boy and I'm a girl. Increased motor skills let them do a lot of new things. So toys, try and get educational toys, books, things that, you know, those shape sorters, things like that. They still love tactile play, using all their muscles. But it's important also to always think about safety, especially size. Is this something that could be aspirated? And the shape, could it have some toxin? Does it have, you know, paint that has toxins in it? And sturdy, is it going to break off little pieces that are going to be an aspiration risk? Some normal concerns at this age: toilet training, sibling rivalry. New siblings can come and kids can be very jealous. Temper tantrums. The best thing to do is ignore it. Make sure the child's safe, but ignore it. Negativism. They say no. So the best thing to do is not give them a yes/no question. Give them an option between two things where, do you want milk or juice, rather than something they can say yes or no. And regression is common. Reassure parents that doesn't mean much. Any stress that happens in a child's life, they often will regress, and that's okay. They'll move forward again. How do you know a child's ready for toilet training? Well, they have to have that sphincter control, and you can tell they'll usually be dry for about 2 hours. They have to be able to get their clothing off, so slipping down their pants, and they have to be able to do that. They need to want to do it, and usually that's because they want to please the parents. If they're curious about adults or their siblings' toilet habits, that's a good sign that they're close to being ready. And if they don't like wet or soiled diapers, that's a good sign that they're ready as well. So here's some kids learning about toilet training. Promoting optimal health through nutrition. So we say that toddlers have this physiologic anorexia, and that just means they are picky eaters. And they'll also eat a ton one day and hardly eat the next few days, and that is just normal. They're picky, they want the same things over and over again, they're ritualistic, they want the same plate, the same cup, they want things the same. So the recommendation is that you can offer nutritious snacks if they're not eating meals well. This is the My Plate. That's a government way to ensure that you have healthy meals. But realize at this age, they're at risk for choking. So things that are large, round, hot dogs, nuts, you need to be very careful of choking at this age. Dental health, they should be starting to see the dentist and go regularly. We need to get plaque off the teeth, but the best brushing is going to be done by the parent. Fluoride is important. Those permanent teeth are already, the tooth buds are already forming. So if they don't have fluoride in the water, they should be on fluoride supplements. And we really should be limiting sugar in the diet. And especially we don't want bottles in them falling asleep with a sugary liquid in a bottle where it's just going to sit in their mouth and give them cavities. So here's brushing teeth. Injury prevention. The most common cause of death is a motor vehicle accident. Anything past a year, it becomes motor vehicle accidents. Other things: drowning, burns, poisonings, suffocation, body damage from falls or bites and stings. All those things, if we can prevent them, it's much better. So car seat safety. The recommendation is that infants and toddlers stay in a rear-facing car seat in the back seat until age 2, or until the age that, if they've reached the age limit of the seat, then it can be turned around. Those are those convertible ones that they can go backwards or forwards. They still should stay in the back seat in a 5-point harness. So this comes over the shoulders, the hips, and then in the crotch. So it has 5 points. So they need to stay in that 5-point car seat, whether it's backwards until age 2, then turn it forwards until 4 years and 40 pounds. So that's not an or, they have to reach both of those. And then they can move up to a booster seat, and they are to stay in that until they are 4 feet 9 inches tall, which is often 8 to 10 years old, something like that. And then other injury prevention, think about plugs, poisons. They shouldn't be where kids can reach them, and they should be locked.